The big day is almost here. In fact, by the time this is posted, the big day will have happened. HRCYED 3.0 will have started. Hardest reading challenge you'll ever do, henceforth known as HRCYED. And apparently the best way to tackle a reading challenge with 80+ books is to let a game decide what I'm gonna read, because I'm the queen of indecision. So this is a year-long reading challenge that starts July 7th and then goes until July 6th of next year. And so it's gonna take over a huge chunk of my reading. Luckily, the prompts are pretty flexible, so I'll still be able to read most of the things I love, while also forcing me to try some other genres and other things to see if I love them too. So let's stop talking and start tumbling. If you haven't seen any of my previous TBR tumbles, it's pretty simple. I have this Plinko board. It's from an actual board game, and it has 7 spots here. Typically, I used other things in those spots, but now I'm gonna fill those spots with HRCYED prompts. There are 25 HRCYED prompts, which I have written on these cards. Each prompt has multiple books that go with it. That's where the 80+ books come into play. I'm gonna start by picking out the prompts that are gonna go on the board. I'll then take anywhere from 5 to 7 chips, drop them, and then pick a book to fulfill that prompt. So let's start by putting down the prompts that I'm gonna pick from on this first round. I'm gonna shuffle my cards because they were just in order. There are a couple of these that I don't really want right now. I do have a plan for every prompt, so I don't think it'll take me that long to figure out what I'm gonna read. But there are some prompts that I think will just be easier to fulfill later on in the challenge. One of the hardest prompts that I had to plan for was bookception, and I have some ideas, but I don't know exactly what I'm gonna use. And then the characters to author, I think, is another one that will organically happen, but I have a plan if I pull it. So let's flip them over. Familial terms, that's what I'm excited about. Rainbow of words, that's a good one. Numerical titles, choose your party, that's a good one. Lots of, oh, see, this is the one, bookception. This is the one that I don't want right now. Okay, not so secret prompts and weather. Okay, so these are all really good except for bookception. I don't want bookception. Mostly because I feel like then I'm gonna have to commit to what I'm reading here. So here we go. First chip, please don't be number 5. Okay, I'm gonna go over here. We got number 2. 2 is a rainbow of words. For this prompt, it is a book with a color in the title. Okay, so let me consult my spreadsheet, check my shelves, and then I'll come back with a book. Here are my contenders for a rainbow of colors. Red Rising, Green Teeth, Silver Cloak, which I realize silver is not in the rainbow, but silver is one of the colors that you have to fulfill. And then last but not least, Priory of the Orange Tree. Okay, right away, I'm gonna put Priory of the Orange Tree back. I know that I will have to tackle it eventually. Now is not that time. Let's see, I've got 2 fantasy and a sci-fi. I think Green Teeth is on the cozy side. Okay, I'm gonna put Green Teeth back. This one has a sequel coming out soon, I think in September. And I obviously want to read the first one before I decide if I'm going to buy the sequel. Red Rising, there are other future prompts that books 2 and 4 actually in this series could fulfill, but I'm not going to buy those or know if I'm going to use them until I read the first one. So I think the smart choice would be for me to pick Red Rising now so that I know if I can continue in the series or if I'm gonna have to pivot. I've heard lots of people recommend this. It's making a comeback because I think the newest one is coming out soon, and then I think it's gonna be a completed series at that point. This is a colony on Mars. Darrow is, I think he's considered a red, which I'm not entirely sure what that means. It's like a class structure, and he is making a comeback. He's rising up in the ranks. So let's pick our next prompt to fill that hole. Just go with the one on top. Regional traipsing. Oh, that'll be a fun one. Drop number 2. Oh, I still don't want bookception. Okay, I'm gonna come over here. Oh, okay, well, at least I'm gonna get it out of the way. I currently only have 2 options for this. So let me Let me get them and then I'll come back. I've got Magpie Murders by Anthony Horowitz. It's like a book within a book kind of murder mystery. And then The 7 Year Slip by Ashley Poston. Two very different books. Magical realism, romance, mystery. From my research, this book mentions Jane Eyre, which I also own. And at some point in my life convinced myself I was going to read. I think my mom told me to read it too. It was part of the reason. I want to read this book. I don't know how I feel about reading Jane Eyre. This book, the main character in this is an editor or something like that, and it mentions The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which I also own. So I own both of the follow-up books for these, or both of the other books this would lead to. Oh, I don't know that I mentioned. Bookception, you have to read a book, and then a book that is mentioned in it, you then read that book, the real book that's mentioned in it. This, from my research, mentions The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which I've already read and loved. You are allowed to do rereads for HRCYED, and it has to be 5 years past, which it has been a while since I read Addie LaRue. This is the better choice because then I'm committing to 2 books I haven't read before that I already own. This is the one that sounds more appealing because I don't know if I want to read Jane Eyre. Now, I know whatever I pick, I don't have to commit to reading the other one right now. My husband said I need to read Jane Eyre. Like I told him the 2 options and he was like, oh, you need to read Jane Eyre. It was very like hands down. He didn't even think about it. And I was like, dang it. He listens to me all the time when I make good decisions. So I'm going to listen to him. I'm going to put this on my TBR, see if it mentions Jane Eyre, and then commit to reading Jane Eyre. Please tell me that Jane Eyre is good. At least I'm getting Bookception off of the board. All right, so let's fill our gap. We've got backlist author. Oh, that's a fun one. I now officially am okay with everything else on here. This is drop number 3. Let's go right in the middle. Okay, number 6. Ooh, not so secret prompts. Last year, there was a series of secret prompts. They are now prompts that are fair game. All right, so here's my contender for not so secret prompts. Charlie Hernandez and the League of Shadows. This is a middle grade book. This fulfills, it's like a childhood miss. This would also help me. I'm a middle school teacher. Our students have summer reading. They have asked the faculty this year to read one of the books. Like you can pick any of them to read one of them. This is the one that I chose. It's also my daughter is getting ready to enter middle school. And so this is the one she read. She already read it and she was adorable because she tried really, really hard not to spoil it for me, but she kept wanting to talk about the book. So this is one of the contenders. Another one of the secret prompts is the last name of the author is also a first name. So Gifted and Talented by Olivia Blake. Blake can be a first name. Julie Chan is dead. Another one of the secret prompts is that the title has a first and last name in it. Julie Chan. And then the last one, A Parade of Horribles. This is the next in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. This is number 8. And one of the secret prompts is that the cover has movement. I believe this level is a race. So you can see on this cover, there is lots of movement. They're in a car, part of the race. I think I'm gonna immediately, I can put this one back. I think I'm gonna put Julie Chan back as well. I think these are my 2 best bets. I'm really looking forward to the next Dungeon Crawler Carl, and then I also need to read this one. I wish I knew what else I was gonna draw because that would make this choice a lot easier. I think I'm gonna be safe and smart and go with this. I need to have this done before the summer. My daughter just finished it a couple days ago. Me adding it to my TBR means we can have some good discussions about it. Let's fill our empty spot. Biomes. Still good with all these. Drop 4. Number 4. Ooh, okay. Number 4 is Choose Your Party. This was a really easy prompt to pick for. The Choose Your Party prompt is based off of Dungeons & Dragons parties, which I've played Dungeons & Dragons randomly. My college roommate and I had a night of drinking where we randomly played and probably ruined the game of a bunch of other people because we were more entertained by what we were doing in the game. Anyway, whatever. My husband is a tabletop game player, him and all of his friends. Essentially, you pick a book where the main character could fall into one of the parties. As a sci-fi fantasy reader, this is pretty easy to meet, but in the HRCYED prompts, there's also a lot of flexibility. So my contenders, this is gonna be really hard to pick. The Lies of Locke Lamora. This would fall under the rogue category because he's a thief. The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. The D&D category would be monk. He is a monk, I think, or he's a priest of some kind that ends up with a band of misfits that he has to take care of. Five Broken Blades. This is the first in a trilogy that would fall into the fighter D&D party. The Poet Empress. I'm putting this under the bard category. This is where you get a little bit of flexibility in HRCYED. The bard is an artist. A bard is a singer and they tell the story. Because you get some flexibility in this, it can be any sort of artistry. It could be a book about a musician. This is a book about a girl that uses poetry to do magic, or poetry magic is somehow involved. I think, all right, I'm looking at I have a lot of read books. Not that that means anything. I don't think I'm gonna pick Five Broken Blades. I really want to read all of these. I'm gonna try to limit, oh, this is so hard. I'm gonna put back The Lies of Locke Lamora. Oh, that's so hard. I really want to read that. I'm between these two. Okay, I'm gonna go with The Poet Empress. I have no other reason other than I really want to. Yeah, I'm committing. Here we have our main character that offers herself up as a concubine. She becomes a part of the dynasty's court and starts to use poetry, magic to survive. I've heard amazing things about this. I believe it's a standalone. I don't want to commit to starting a whole bunch of series. Trust me, I'm gonna be starting a bunch of series in the process of doing this. We'll stick to a standalone for now. I'm gonna do at least one more drop. Next up, we've got, an anthology of authors. I actually would really like to get that one now. An anthology of authors asks you to read an anthology of multiple authors and then also read books by those authors. I think it would be good to start with an anthology and then figure out which authors' voices I like that I then want to pursue more books by. So that's one that I kind of want. But honestly, any of these, I would do any of them. All right, let's see here. Okay. All right, number 6. Biomes. So this is Biomes is the category. Biomes asks you to pick books that showcase either on the cover or in the description or like in the location different areas of the world. As a science teacher, there are a very specific list of biomes, but Cordy is not a science teacher, and so I'm not going to judge her for her definition of biomes. Plus, it gives me some options on what to read. So let me pull some picks here. Okay. Okay, I was saying I had a bunch of red books. Now I have a bunch of blue and green books. So here's my contender for biomes. Geographer's Map to Romance. This is book 2 in the love academic series. Lies of Locke Lamora again. See, I knew it'd come back. Green Teeth again. Empire of Shadows, which is also another standalone / romance series, very similar to Geographer's Map to Romance. And then the Amalfi Curse by Sarah Penner. Okay, well, let's see here. I think I'm gonna put Lies of Locke Lamora back again. I already gave it up once. And Green Teeth, I'm gonna do the same thing. I already gave it up once. I feel like these all would be really good summer books. I just heard this is excellent to read in the summer. This is the one I'm leaning towards, ironically. Oh, I really wanted to read this one. Okay, I'm gonna put Geographer's Map to Romance back because I've been really wanting to read this one too. I'm gonna go with the I always want to add an L where there's not an L. Amalfi Curse. Sarah Penner's books, I read Apothecary, what is it? Apothecary something. Lost Apothecary. Her books are mostly historical, but they have a hint of magical realism to them. Nothing is confirmed, but there's just a vibe of magical realism. This is treasure chaser, treasure hunter, whatever you want to call it, in an area where there's a curse. We've got a female archaeologist. All 3 of those books that I narrowed it down to were basically female archaeologists. I just heard this has really summer vibes. We're in the heart of summer. We're gonna go with this one. My books are actually not looking that long, so I might do one more drop. I might regret this. I don't actually think I'm gonna read all these is what it is. I don't know if regret is the right choice. It will allow me some wiggle room. All right, let's see here. Shiratori. I'm doing Japanese Duolingo, hence why I put the characters on there. Shiratori is a word game where you match the last letter to the first letter of the next word. In this case, you're doing it with book titles. It's gonna be my final drop. Drop number 6. Okay, I'm gonna go over here again. Oh, all the way over to number 1. Familial terms. This was a hard prompt to plan for. I only physically have one of the options here, but I have other choices. This prompt requires, in the title of the book, there is some sort of family member, some sort of term you would use for a family member. Cousin, sister, brother, daughter, mom. The book that I own, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, we've got a number and a family member, would be husband. Some other potential contenders that I actually might lean towards instead of this one. I'm fairly certain that I will be getting Seek the Traitor's Son by Veronica Roth sometime in the near future, either late July, early August, so I don't think I should put that on the TBR because I don't think it'll get here in time. My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney. I have read a few other Alice Feeney mysteries. Mysteries are kind of a quick read. It's popular, so I don't know if I'll be able to get it from the library in time. Plus I have another mystery on the list right now. Daughter of Crows is a book that I'm getting in the mail soon. It is by Mark Lawrence and would also help me fulfill an R fantasy prompt. So that's a contender. I have to look at the title because the title is really long. My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry, and this is by Frederick Bachman. I haven't actually ever read any Frederick Bachman. I've had friends recommend him. I know that everybody loves his stories. I think you read them if you want to cry. I don't always read books because I want to cry. So right now I'm leaning towards My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney, My Grandmother Asked blah 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 by Frederick Bachman, or 7 Husbands. Let me look at the library. Let me see how long it would take me to get some of these. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to get My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney this month. I'm gonna place a hold on it. If it shows up in time, well, I'll put a hold on the audio too, because then if anything, if the audio shows up, I can just listen to the audio. Oh, there's a long wait on the audio. That's what I'm gonna do though. Tentatively put it on my TBR and then see if it shows up in time, because I already have a lot of other books. Let's wrap this up. All right, so my first drop was A Rainbow of Words, and I chose Red Rising by Pierce Brown, which is a sci-fi. My next drop was the one I wanted to, I guess I got it over with, Bookception. So I'm reading a book and hoping that there's another book title in it. The Magpie Murders by Anthony Horowitz, which is a mystery. Ugh, I hope I can want to read Jane Eyre. Then I got Not So Secret Prompts, and I decided to pick Charlie Hernandez in The League of Shadows. This is a middle grade that will take care of it's like the childhood loss prompt. This will actually also work for our fantasy has a middle grade pick, so this will work for that too. Then I got Choose Your Party, and I went with The Poet Empress by Shen Tao, which will fit into the bard category because she is a poet, and bards they also do poetry because they usually rhyme. It's like poetry with music. Then I dropped and got the biomes prompt. I went with what is hopefully a very summery vibe, The Amalfi Curse by Sarah Penner, which is a historical fiction with like a magical realism-ish kind of vibe to it that seems very summery. Look at these waves. Look at this cover. Like, how does that not just say summer? Very summery. Oh, I forgot to mention the biome that this is going to fulfill is coastal, in case you couldn't tell, because it's like all shipwreck related near the Amalfi coast. And then last but not least, I did familial terms. Right now, maybe if I get to it, if I have time, then I'm gonna read My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney. This is another murder mystery thriller kind of book. Her books always read really quick to me too, the ones that I've read before. So hopefully it shows up in time, or maybe I can get the audio and we'll knock that out. So here's my July TBR. All that I have left to do is to actually read them. I do have a couple other books that are on my TBR that I'm not gonna spoil right now because they're gonna show up in my read down my TBR video. That's why I was kind of hemming and hawing out picking another one. We'll find out whether these are all as good as everyone says that they are, see if they're worth the hype. I'd love to know which books in July are you most excited to read, or if you're doing any reading challenges, what are some books that you're picking to fulfill prompts for your reading challenge? Go ahead and tell me in the comments. If you are feeling silent but still want to let me know you're here, why don't you leave some sort of boat emoji or a treasure emoji in the comments for the Amalfi Curse, then I'll know that you stopped by. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe. It really helps me and lets me know that people are enjoying my content. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy reading.